Lucy and Leo sat together on a sunny bench at Central Park, their laughter mingling with the distant sounds of children playing. Lucy was bright and cheerful, with long brown hair that danced in the breeze. She loved to help others and had a gift for making people smile. Her emotional strength was her kindness, but when things went wrong, she sometimes felt anxious and worried. Leo, on the other hand, was calm and steady. He had short, dark hair and kind blue eyes that seemed to understand everyone around him. He was a thoughtful listener, always ready to support Lucy when she felt timid. Yet, inside, Leo battled his own fears. He sometimes withdrew too much when he felt overwhelmed. They met at a coffee shop where Lucy worked. One day, Leo came in looking shy and unsure. He ordered his coffee but stumbled over his words, and Lucy smiled gently, helping him feel more comfortable. From that day, they shared the moments, sipping coffee and talking for hours. They were drawn to each other's warmth and openness. Their nights were filled with stargazing and sweet stories as they built a strong emotional connection over small, everyday moments. But they both carried worries about deeper issues in their past. Lucy had a tendency to worry about whether people would stay in her life, while Leo feared showing too much of himself. As their relationship deepened, they would need to face these challenges together, trusting in the love they had begun to grow. Their journey was just beginning, filled with hopes, fears, and the promise of true emotional compatibility. As the weeks passed, Lucy began to notice changes in Leo. He seemed quieter than usual, often lost in thought. They still enjoyed their time together, but Lucy felt a growing distance. It was subtle at first, like a soft shadow creeping between them. Leo would often stare out into space during their dinners, and Lucy, with her sensitive heart, picked up on this shift. His eyes no longer sparkled with the same light when they talked. She remembered a time when he would share everything about his day, but now, he rarely opened up. Feeling worried, Lucy decided to ask Leo about his feelings. One evening, as they sat on the couch, Lucy took a deep breath. "Leo, I've noticed you seem a bit distant lately. Is everything all right?" Her voice was gentle, calming like a warm blanket. She hoped her concern would reach him, but instead of expressing his feelings, Leo shrugged, avoiding her gaze. "I'm okay. Just busy with work," he replied, but his expression said otherwise. Lucy felt her heart sink. She could see Leo was troubled, yet he didn't want to talk. This was a new struggle for her. In the past, they would talk openly, but now, everything felt different. She wanted to push him to share but feared this might make him retreat even more. Instead, she tried to give him space, hoping he would open up in his own time. Days turned into a week, and still, Leo's silence weighed heavily on their relationship. When Lucy reached out for his hand, he would sometimes pull back, lost in his own world. Lucy pushed down her anxiety, trying to be patient and supportive. Yet, inside, self-doubt started to grow. Was she not enough? Did he not love her anymore? These thoughts made her feel small, like a cloud overshadowing her heart. One afternoon, as they sat at their favorite coffee shop, Lucy couldn't hold back any longer. "Leo, I feel like you're not the same. I miss talking to you, sharing our thoughts," she said, trying to keep her voice steady. Leo looked surprised, and for a moment, she felt a flicker of hope. But he sighed deeply, his expression mingling with frustration. "I don't know, Lucy. Maybe I'm just tired. I've got a lot on my mind," he responded, his voice heavy and strained. Feeling misunderstood, Lucy's frustration bubbled to the surface. "It feels like you're shutting me out. Can't you see I care? I want to help you," she exclaimed, her emotions spilling through the cracks of her well-supported facade. But instead of relief, she saw Leo's shoulders tense further. He ran a hand through his hair, struggling to find the words. I don't want to burden you. I thought keeping quiet would be easier," he admitted, looking away, ashamed. In that moment, their wild hearts collided against each other, yet neither knew how to break the wall between them. Their attempts to communicate were muddled by unresolved fears, creating a chasm rather than bridging it. Lucy's heartache deepened, and Leo's struggle tightened around him like a grip he could not escape. They were trapped in silence, both longing to connect, but feeling lost in their own worlds. The evening grew heavier, filled with unsaid words and unexpressed feelings, wrapping around them, filling the space with quiet yet assertive tension. As Lucy and Leo navigated their silence, a new challenge crept into their lives. One evening, Lucy found herself on her phone, scrolling through social media when she stumbled upon a picture of Leo with a new coworker at a restaurant. They were laughing together, looking so comfortable, and jealousy wove its way through her heart. Questions filled her mind as she felt a dark cloud of insecurities hovering above. Did Leo find someone better? Was she not special to him anymore? These thoughts clutched at her chest, making it hard to breathe. That night, when Leo returned home late from work, Lucy greeted him with a welcome smile, masking the turmoil inside her. She knew that revealing her feelings could open wounds, but attempting to suppress her emotions only became heavier with each moment. Yet the image lingered in her mind, and doubts morphed into resentment. As they shared a simple dinner, Lucy struggled with her thoughts, pushing painful words to the forefront. "I saw your picture with Tara today. You looked like you were having fun," she said, attempting to keep her tone light. Her heart raced, bracing for his response. Leo's eyes widened in surprise before a frown settled across his face. "Tara is just a coworker," he replied, his voice laced with irritation. It was a work dinner, nothing more. Seeing the tension tightening around him, Lucy felt a mixture of regret and frustration. "Well, it just seems like you're enjoying yourself with her," she said, unable to hide the bitterness in her voice. Leo took a deep breath, his face growing red. "That isn't fair, Lucy. You know that I care about you. Why can't you trust me?" At that moment, they both felt emotions spiraling high, as disappointment filled the air between them. Instead of soothing each other, their words fought like walls, pushing them further apart. Leo withdrew slightly, and Lucy felt the hurt from his defensiveness. Instead of allowing room for conversation, they both circled around their fears. Lucy held tightly to her jealousy, and Leo, overwhelmed, grew silent. As the night stretched on, their conversations dwindled, and Leo heaped on long hours at work, using it as a distraction. Lucy felt desperate to understand, wanting to encourage Leo to be open without pushing him away. "Can we please talk?" she asked one night in a subdued voice, filled with longing. But Leo, feeling overwhelmed himself, nodded but was non-responsive. "I just can't right now," he muttered, eyes cast down. Despite the rising tension, a flicker of desire began to grow within Lucy. She knew they had shared beautiful nighttime stargazing moments and precious laughter. They had built a strong foundation, and even as old patterns of hurt resurfaced, she mustered the courage to take a small step forward. One day, after work, she decided that no matter how difficult the emotions felt, she would do her best to be open, even if it meant expressing her deeper fears. Over their next dinner, Lucy gently ventured forth. "Leo, can we share our feelings more? I'm scared about losing you. I want to make this work," she said, her voice raw yet hopeful. It took every ounce of her strength, but saying it felt freeing. Leo looked up, emotion washing across his face. Here was her chance, and for a moment, it felt as though honesty might ignite the spark they needed. Though they were both clumsy in their communication, Lucy felt a glimmer of hope. Small victories, like opening up, started pushing aside the shadows that had entered. They didn't quite resolve the larger issues yet, but with each busy moment and heartfelt conversation, they took tiny steps towards rebuilding their connection, no matter how fragile. Lucy understood that these small wins strengthened her heart, even through the struggles they faced as a couple. Sometimes, the first glimmer of light shines through the dark when least expected. One evening, the weight of unspoken feelings finally broke free in a way neither Lucy nor Leo anticipated. After a grueling day, Lucy came home to find Leo staring at his phone, a look of frustration etched on his face. She noticed the silence stretched between them like a thick rope, and the walls of tension began to close in once more. "Are you okay?" Lucy asked softly. She hoped to break the growing discomfort, but Leo looked up and sighed, his brows furrowing together. "I'm fine," he snapped, his voice sharper than intended. The bite of his words startled Lucy, causing a rush of heat to climb into her cheeks. "Leo, I'm just asking. You seem upset, she replied, her calm demeanor beginning to crack as frustration bubbled under the surface. What once were simple conversations had morphed into battlegrounds of misunderstandings and hidden edges. Leo felt his frustration rise, too. You're always asking if I'm okay, but you never really listen. You only hear what you want. Anger pulsed through his veins, and he didn't hold back. Everything they struggled with boiled over in an instant, igniting something raw and fierce. Lucy opened her mouth to counter, but her heart raced. This was spiraling fast. Maybe if you opened up more, I wouldn't have to keep asking. You just shut me out. Her voice echoed in the room, and her fear seeped into every word. Lucy couldn't contain it any longer. Unresolved words flowed from her heart like rushing water. I'm worried that you don't care about our relationship as much as you used to. You're always distracted, she shouted, her emotion piercing through their facade of normalcy. Leo's anger fueled his need to fight back. And maybe if you trusted me, we wouldn't be in this mess. I can't take it any longer. You always think something is wrong, he shouted, regret rising with each harsh syllable. But the hurt spilled out, and he didn't realize how deeply he was cutting. It was as if every grievance was laid bare, ripe for the picking in a violent way. I wouldn't have to worry if you would just talk to me. It feels like I'm losing you. Lucy felt her chest tighten as tears threatened to spill. Anguish swamped her heart, and she felt small and desperate standing before him. The rawness of the moment engulfed them both, igniting old insecurities. Maybe you just overthink everything. This is why I don't want to talk about my feelings. Leo's frustration surged and he ran a hand through his hair, exasperated. His words hung in the air like sharp knives, and both recognized the truth that sunk deep. The safe haven they'd built had tilted, and within it, shadows of doubt rose tall. And in that moment, vulnerability sat heavy between them, a stark reminder of how fear could suffocate connection. Both were equally scared, yet neither knew how to voice the true depth of their love. They exchanged sharp looks, daring each other to deny the flames burning brightly, and with each word, the distance widened. Their compatibility felt fragile as anger tightly clamped around the thread of their relationship, tugging it threateningly. In that raw moment filled with heavy breaths, lingering resentments clawed at hidden fears. They stood engulfed by their own interpretations of love, wrapped tightly in pain and confusion. Though they hadn't resolved anything, it felt like the storm before the stillness, a powerful clash silhouetted against the fragility of whatever love they were fighting for, igniting a resolve that would force them down a transformative journey ahead. After their explosive argument, Lucy found herself sitting on the edge of her bed, the room dim and filled with silence. Her heart raced, and a mix of anger and sadness washed over her like a wave. Feeling overwhelmed, she reached for her journal and tried to pour out the storm inside her. As she wrote, the words spilled onto the page, an outpouring of emotion. Why do I always feel like I'm chasing him? She scribbled, her pen scratching furiously. We used to be so close, sharing everything, and now I feel like there's this huge wall between us. Each line reflected her pain, but also a growing realization. She wrote about how much she cared for Leo, how his laughter made her heart flutter, and how she feared that they might lose each other if they didn't confront their feelings. Am I pushing him away? Am I doing this all wrong? She pondered. Meanwhile, Leo sat in his small living room, staring blankly at the wall. The argument replayed in his mind like a recording on loop, with each hurtful word sinking in deeper. I never wanted to hurt her, he thought as he picked up his phone, scrolling aimlessly without focus. Bursting with frustration, he sent a message to his friend Matt. Can I talk? Things are pretty bad with Lucy. Within moments, his phone buzzed back with a quick response. Sure. Come over. On the way to Matt's, Leo felt the weight of uncertainty press down on him. As Matt opened the door, he was greeted with a comforting smile. Hey, man. You look like you've seen a ghost. What's going on? They moved to the couch, and Leo buried his face in his hands. Lucy and I had a huge fight. It was ugly, he admitted, feeling a mix of embarrassment and disappointment in himself. Matt listened quietly as Leo explained their struggle. When Leo shared, I just don't know how to talk to her anymore, Matt nodded, recognizing the fear behind those words. You know, Leo, relationships aren't easy. It's hard to share yourself with someone else, especially when you're scared, he said, sounding reasonable. But do you want to lose her? Do you even realize what's at stake? Leo's heart sank as those words hit home. The idea of being without Lucy felt unbearable. I never thought I'd lose her, he murmured softly, contemplating. The thought festered in his mind. What if they drifted apart if they did not work through their troubles? I need to figure this out, he responded with a quiet resolve. Later that night, Lucy's reflections deepened as she replayed their last conversation in her mind. It echoed with anger, confusion, and fear. She realized she fell into patterns of worry that often pushed Leo into his shell rather than inviting him out into the light. How can I be the scared one when we're supposed to support each other, she wrote. Each question became a release, as she began to see where she might have contributed to their struggles. Maybe, I'm pushing too hard, she noted with deep reflection. I need to trust him more, I need to be brave enough to open my heart. The light bulb began to flash within her mind. Their love was worth fighting for, but it would require openness from them both. With fresh determination, Lucy felt herself ready to face Leo again. Caught in their separate realities, both tried to break free from the cycles of negativity that held them back. The echo of their earlier argument lingered like a shadow. However, new insights illuminated paths forward. They knew that if they didn't take strides together soon, the love they cherished could become an echo of what once was. Each felt a spark of hope amid the tension, understanding intuitively that their journey was far from over and they could cast the shadow of doubt aside if they truly worked together. The next morning, Lucy woke with a mixture of hope and nervous energy swirling inside her. After a night filled with reflections, she convinced herself that she had to reach out to Leo. Her heart was set on breaking down the walls that had risen between them. Deciding to face her fears, she sent him a simple text, "Can we talk? I want to make things right." She bit her lip, waiting nervously for his reply. To her relief, Leo responded quickly. "Yes, I'd like that. Can we meet at our coffee shop?" Lucy felt a flutter of nerves but also anticipation. Perhaps today could be the turning point they needed. When she arrived at the coffee shop, Leo was already waiting at their usual table. His face showed the tension behind his calm expression. They exchanged hesitant smiles, both feeling the weight of their prior argument still lingering in the air. As they settled into their seats, Lucy took a deep breath, knowing this moment carried the potential to reshape their bond. "Leo, I've been thinking about everything," she started, her voice steady yet vulnerable. "I realize that I often worry too much instead of trusting you. I've been pushing you away by acting this way." Her honesty hung between them like a thread, gently tugging at Leo's heart. Leo nodded slowly, relief washing over him. "I've been thinking about it too," he admitted, locking eyes with her. "I never wanted to hurt you, Lucy. I just didn't know how to explain everything I was feeling." The admission felt like a leap into the unknown, but vulnerability began to tear down the walls that had kept them apart. As the conversation deepened, both shared their thoughts on their struggles. They reflected together on the last few weeks, the misunderstandings that had created friction, and the inherent fear that had clouded their love. Lucy felt increasingly lighter when she spoke freely about her anxieties, appreciating how Leo listened without defensiveness. Feeling inspired, Leo recalled what Matt had suggested about external help. "Maybe we should consider counseling or reading about how to communicate better. I think it could really help us see things from each other's eyes," he proposed, and his voice held newfound excitement, as if horizons were expanding. Lucy felt warmth fill her chest at this suggestion. "I think that's a great idea. I want us to be stronger together," she replied, the affirmation lingering. The potential for growth pulsed between them, enabling everything that had once felt stagnant to flow again. Their conversation shifted from blame to seeking collaborative solutions. As they exchanged ideas, Lucy could feel their emotional connection solidify like glue bonding their hearts. Leo shared how opening up was difficult for him but promised to make an effort to communicate and share his thoughts when feeling overwhelmed. In return, Lucy assured him she would try to calm her worries and show more trust, knowing that sharing the burden would allow them to find comfort in each other. In that moment, beneath the soft morning light filtering through the cafe windows, clarity dawned. Both realized the importance of their relationship and what it truly meant to fight for it. "I don't want to lose this, Leo." "I love you," Lucy confessed, her eyes shining with sincerity. Leo reached across the table to grasp her hand in his. The simple act was a testament of their commitment to each other. "I love you too, Lucy," he replied, and his voice radiated warmth and reassurance. They both understood that true love required hard work and devoted action, but they were prepared to embrace the journey together, eager to build something even stronger than before. With the heaviness of yesterday's argument lifted, the cafe buzzed with hope as they envisioned a bright future filled with open communication and shared support. The turning point had arrived, stronger and more vibrant than ever, opening a new chapter in their relationship. After their heartfelt conversation at the coffee shop, Lucy and Leo began small but meaningful changes in their relationship. They committed to being open and honest with one another, eager to rebuild the love they cherished. Lucy felt nervous yet excited about this new chapter. They both recognized that the journey wouldn't be easy, but their hearts were united in wanting to overcome their struggles together. In the days that followed, they tried to implement better communication. One evening, as they cooked dinner, Lucy decided to initiate a conversation. "Leo, can you tell me about your day? What was something that truly made you happy?" she asked, hoping to encourage him to share more. Leo paused for a moment, stirring the sauce on the stove. It felt awkward, as if they were both learning to walk on a new path. Well, Leo started, his voice slightly unsure. "Today, I saw a little girl play with her father in the park. They were laughing, and it made me think of us." "It felt nice," he admitted, feeling the warmth of honesty flow through him. Lucy smiled widely. "That sounds beautiful. It's nice to have those little moments, isn't it?" Encouraged by her response, Leo smiled back, feeling a sense of relief wash over him. They spent the rest of the evening sharing stories and laughter, rekindling the sparks that warmed their hearts. However, old habits did not disappear overnight. The next week, while watching a movie together, Lucy began to feel anxious when Leo was still quiet. Struggling with her worries, she found it hard not to voice them. "Are you okay? You haven't said much," she blurted out instinctively. The old Lucy was showing, but she quickly recognized it. This time, she tucked her fears away, reminding herself to give him space. Leo sensed her anxiousness and took a deep breath. "I'm just thinking," he replied, his tone softening. "I really like sitting here with you. I don't have to talk all the time." Lucy's heart warmed at his reassurance. They began to navigate how to appreciate silence without discomfort, learning that stillness could mean peace rather than tension. One weekend, they decided to explore new activities together to deepen their connection. They signed up for a pottery class, which made for awkward moments filled with laughter and mishaps. Clay flew everywhere, and neither of them managed to create anything resembling art, but they reveled in the fun of making mistakes together. As they struggled to shape their pieces, Leo chuckled, "I'm sure Michelangelo had rough days too." While their pottery creations resembled blobs more than anything else, their smiles were genuine. "This was a fun mess," Lucy exclaimed, her face lit with joy. She enjoyed seeing Leo relaxed and playful, which reminded her of how much she loved this side of him. With every shared moment, vulnerability began to seep into their interactions. One night, Lucy sat with her journal again, jotting down reflections. She shared her thoughts with Leo. "I'm proud of us for trying new things. But sometimes I still feel scared," she admitted quietly. "I worry about falling back into old patterns." Leo reached for her hand. "I feel the same sometimes. Change is hard. But I want to keep trying. We should talk whenever those feelings creep up." His response held the promise of understanding, which deepened their bond further. Even with small bumps along the way, a shift was occurring. They began to see hope flickering brighter where shadows once lay. Their commitment was now grounded in compassion, as they learned to navigate feelings together, step by step. With every moment of awkwardness or vulnerability, Lucy and Leo felt a building sense of resilience, knowing they were both working towards something greater than themselves. Their love was beginning to grow roots that could weather any storm they faced. As the autumn leaves began to fall, their vibrant colors mirrored the change blossoming in Lucy and Leo's relationship. It was a chilly Saturday evening, and they decided to take a long walk through the park near their home. The crisp air carried with it a sense of renewal, and the couple wrapped themselves in warm scarves, walking side by side, their fingers entwined. As they strolled along the winding path, the soft crunch of leaves beneath their feet filled the spaces between their words. It felt refreshing to engage in such familiar activities while appreciating the newfound depth in their connection. Lucy looked up at Leo, feeling their hands meld perfectly together. "You know, I've loved these walks with you. It's like we're rediscovering each other," she said, her eyes gleaming with admiration. Leo nodded, a smile playing on his lips. "I feel it too. I think we've both learned how important it is to talk about things, even when it's difficult." There was an honesty in his words that resonated deeply with Lucy. She appreciated his willingness to engage and be real with her, even after their struggles. The scenery around them buzzed with life, and the vibrant setting provided the perfect backdrop for an honest and open conversation. "Do you remember when we used to walk here all the time? I feel like we're finding our rhythm again," she encouraged, recalling the laughter and shared moments they once had. Leo chuckled softly. "Yeah, I remember those walks. I think I was afraid of getting too serious back then, but now, I feel more ready." He studied her expression as he spoke. It was clear the walls around his heart had softened, allowing room for vulnerability to thrive. Feeling the warmth of his sincerity, Lucy prompted, "What has changed for you? What are you feeling now?" The question hung in the air, and Leo paused, eyes focusing on the path ahead as he gathered his thoughts. "It's like I didn't realize how much I needed to let you in. I thought hiding my feelings protected us, but it just built that wall," he admitted hesitantly, weighing each word. "Now, I see how talking about my emotions brings us closer. I want to be better at that." Lucy felt tears prick her eyes, a mix of gratitude and pride. "I understand. I was scared and worried, too. But now, I see how we can face things together, which is so reassuring." The two stood still for a moment, taking in the gravity of their bond. It was a milestone in their personal journeys but intertwined as a couple. As they continued their walk, they both felt lighter, unburdened by the weight of their past fears. Lucy remembered how each conversation had nudged them closer to this point. A shift had happened, their emotional safety felt restored, although deeper than it had been before. At one point, they stopped by a fountain, illuminated by soft, swirling lights. Leo turned to her, sincerity radiating from his gaze. "Let's promise to keep talking and being honest with each other no matter what. Deal?" His expression held hope and commitment, and Lucy nodded emphatically. "Deal," she echoed, a bright smile breaking across her face. In that small moment of connection, she felt a comforting sense of understanding and care. They were in this together, facing whatever life brought them hand in hand. The park felt full of possibilities as they continued their walk, the distance between them having shrunk to nothing. They were no longer just Lucy and Leo. They had become partners in growth, willing to challenge themselves, embracing trust in each other. The lessons they learned from past struggles were now woven into the fabric of their relationship, creating a tapestry rich with love and understanding. The warmth of emotional safety filled their hearts, offering a bright promise for all that lay ahead. Weeks passed since their pivotal conversation in the park, and Lucy and Leo had made great strides in their relationship. They had consciously worked together to strengthen their emotional bond and improve their communication. Their shared experiences and the lessons they learned drew them closer, creating a joyful atmosphere filled with laughter and warmth. They both felt more confident in their love and commitment, ready to face life's challenges together. One sunny Sunday morning, Lucy suggested they revisit the pottery studio where they had enjoyed their first clumsy session. She remembered how they'd laughed through their mistakes and had fun discovering something new. "How about we try making those mugs again?" she asked with a bright smile, excitement dancing in her eyes. Leo looked at her, his heart swelling at the thought of revisiting that fun memory. "Definitely. This time, I won't let the clay win so easily," he joked, a grin spreading across his face. As they arrived at the studio, the familiar scent of wet clay surrounded them, a comforting reminder of how far they had come. The two eagerly got to work, starting with fresh blocks of clay. Leo focused on his form, diligently molding the clay into a shape that was uniquely his own. Meanwhile, Lucy felt playful, her excitement bubbling over as she shaped her clay clumsily. Within moments, the fun began all over again. "Look, Leo. I think this one is a perfect bowl," she exclaimed, giggling as the clay fell apart in her hands. "Very nice, Lucy. Just keep trying. I'm sure you'll get it this time," he cheered, his voice a mixture of encouragement and humor. It was this playful environment that not only made them laugh but also reminded them that practice, and shared silliness, was part of growing together. As they created their pieces, they found moments of silence, too. Graceful pauses where they exchanged knowing glances filled with unspoken understanding. Those silent moments now felt safe, no longer strained by tension or misunderstanding. It was in these small exchanges that Lucy felt their love blossoming, nourished by mutual support. A few hours later, both of them sat at the table, enjoying ridiculous sculptures made of pottery. They began discussing their shared goals for the future. "You know, I really want to travel more. We should plan a trip together," Lucy suggested, her eyes shining with excitement for new adventures. Leo nodded, enthusiasm radiating from him. "Absolutely. I've always wanted to visit the Grand Canyon. It would be amazing to share that experience with you," he replied, his spirit lifted at the thought of exploring and making memories together. In that moment, they exchanged a glance filled with possibility. Each spoke not just of travel, but of the foundation they were now building with dreams and shared aspirations. They agreed to save together for a trip, visualizing themselves standing at the edge of the canyon, watching the sunset wash the horizon in fiery colors, an image representing not just an experience but the growth they'd achieved together. As they left the studio, Leo reached for Lucy's hand, intertwining their fingers effortlessly. The moment felt powerful and intimate, like a promise that they were committed to walking side by side through life. With his other hand, he gently squeezed their homemade mugs, a tangible reminder of their journey together. "Lucy, I'm really proud of us. We've come such a long way," Leo said, gratitude shimmering in his voice. The sincerity of his words resonated deeply within her. "I'm proud of us too, Leo. We're stronger, and we have each other," she replied, her heart warmed by his affection. In that moment, surrounded by the colors of a perfect day, they stood united, a symbol of their journey, growth, and renewed hope. Together they had transformed their struggles into strengths, evolving as individuals as well as partners. With open hearts and new adventures on the horizon, Lucy and Leo were ready to embrace whatever the future would bring, bound by their love and their shared commitment to growth.